6, we're back again. Kristi and Katie, your crime time friends. Stories, justice, laughs collide. True Crime Squad, come join the ride. Grab the clues, let's take a stand. For victims' voices, hand in hand. True Crime Squad, it's time to shine. Season 6, your turn, your time. True Crime Squad, where justice meets hilarity.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the True Crime Squad. This is Katie Weaver. I'm here with my sister, co-host, and partner in crime, Kristi Brower. Hello.
Hello. Hey everybody. Sandy is here as well. Don't worry.
Saw the tail. Yep.
Right here. I had to wake her up from her nap, let her know it was showtime. Once she figures out what's happening, man, she makes a beeline for my office.
She's in.
But at first she's like, dude, I'm sleeping. What? Oh, showtime. Oh, my public awaits.
I apologize.
So funny.
Oh, she's a funny kitty. Well, good. And happy Wednesday to everybody. It's Case Updates.
Yeah.
Always a show we look forward to because we get to revisit a lot of stuff. And boy, have we got a doozy of a show today.
My Lord. Yeah, a lot. A lot going on.
But before we start that, we've got to make sure you know it's the watch party tonight.
Yes, it is.
We are watching Memories of a Murderer, the Nilsson tapes. It's about an hour and a half. It's a little longer than we normally do, but I think it'll be worth it. That'll be at 7 p.m. Mountain Daylight. Yeah, you've seen it.
7:15?
7:15, yep. p.m. Mountain Daylight. As always, you watch it on Netflix and you join us in the chat room. If you've not joined the chat party before, or the chat party, wow, it was close, not quite. If you haven't joined,
you're almost there.
Almost there. If you haven't joined the watch party before, not hard to do. All you have to do is go over to truecrimesquad.com, click on the Buy Me a Coffee link, and that'll take you to our page for that. It's $2 a month, super cheap, but once you do that, we'll email you a link so that you can come and watch. What it is it's a private YouTube link. So it'll be a live stream, a lot like what you're watching right now, except for that we won't be on the screen. What you'll see on the screen is this. But we'll all be in the chat room together, chatting together while we watch. And I'm telling you, it's very fun. It's a great way to just get to relax a little bit. Everybody can just make a bowl of popcorn, pour a glass of wine. We can just relax and do true crime together, since that's a passion of all of ours, obviously, for us and you guys that are watching. So that's what's up.
Absolutely. And if you're already a member, you have just received the link in your email. If you join during the show, I'll send it again right after the show, so that even if you join now, you can still do it.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, very good. Okay, well, let's get on to business. Obviously, the biggest word of the day was the jury came back after 21 hours in Karen Read.
Yes.
Now, I want to say this right up front because I know in the chat room that some of you believed that she was guilty and some of you believed that she was innocent. And let's be very respectful of everybody's opinions here. This has been a very divisive case, and we don't need for it to be divisive here. We can remain friends and have different opinions. So let's just be super careful about that. However, the jury did come back with a nearly fully not guilty verdict. The only thing that they got her on was drunk driving.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what it looked like was going to happen yesterday. The jury was asked a lot of questions yesterday. They were, believe it or not, very confused about the jury form. Massachusetts, why do you have jury forms that are meant to trick the jurors? I don't understand that.
Well, and is this just Judge Canoni or what?
Right.
This is the second time. The first trial, it was the same problem.
And then when they asked for help, they really didn't get it. But they did put out an amended jury form today. I don't know if you guys looked at it. I did, and I was like, holy shit. How do you fill this out? So, confusing stuff. And then, partway through the day, they knocked on the juror door and said they had a verdict. And then a very brief moment later, they said, no, we don't. Never mind. And went back to deliberations. It was somebody on Twitter called it a verdict butt dial.
Oh.
And then they came back shortly thereafter with a true verdict. So let's take a look.
Mr. Foreman, on docket number 2282CR117001, murder in the second degree, what say you? Is the defendant at the bar guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
So say you, Mr. Foreman? So say you? No. Do you agree?
Yes.
Do all of you agree? Yes. Thank you. 002, what say you? Is the defendant at the bar not guilty or guilty?
Not guilty.
Is not guilty or guilty of that charge or any lesser included charge?
Lesser included.
Thank you. Specifically, number 5, operating under the influence of liquor by operating a motor vehicle with a blood alcohol level of 0.08 or greater. Correct?
Yes.
So say you, Mr. Foreman?
Guilty.
So say you all?
Yes. Guilty.
003, what say you? Is the defendant at the bar leaving the scene after accident resulting in death? Is the defendant not guilty or guilty?
Not guilty.
So say you, Mr. Foreman? So say you all? Jurors, hearken your verdict as the court records that you upon your oath say the defendant on 001 is not guilty, on 002 is guilty of operating under the influence of liquor, and 003 not guilty. Thank you.
And there you have it.
The cheering outside was quite something. When you watched it live, it was hard to hear
Yeah.
what they were saying.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Right. Yeah. Well, and apparently the big Free Karen Reed crowd outside had already received earlier an admonition from the judge, a court order to knock it off and quiet down. But, at that moment, what you going to do?
right. And there have been people waiting, for
Yeah.
days for this. Obviously, the jury went out
Yeah.
on Friday, so this has taken a while.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. Irene, I had the same thought. Even confusion during the reading. Like, Massachusetts, what is going on? If you wouldn't mind getting it together, that would be super cool.
I know. Yeah. Why does this not teach some lessons here? I don't know why the first time around it didn't teach some lessons, but
I don't know. It sounds like she will be getting a year of probation on the drunk driving charge. So, which
yeah,
is
she
fine.
opted to be sentenced right there,
Yeah,
and that's what they did.
yeah. Which, honestly, good. Drunk driving sucks. Don't fucking do that.
Yeah.
Right? Pay
I
the
mean,
piper for that.
I
Absolutely.
think the thing we know from this is that Karen Reed is not a very nice person. She just isn't.
No. No, she's not, and she pisses
Did they prove
people
their
off.
case? No, they did not.
No,
Can you be a not very nice person and innocent? Yeah, you can.
you can. She didn't do herself
And
any
I think that
favors
has
with
been
her
hard
behavior.
for some people. Her
Uh-huh.
behavior has been difficult, and she's come across as really arrogant and heartless.
Mhm.
And I really do feel terrible for John O'Keefe's family. Like,
Oh.
what the hell must they be going through now? Like,
Right. Because
what
there's
is
still
the
no
truth here?
justice.
You know?
But again, there still is no justice. There's still no justice. 2 juries couldn't do it. 2 juries. They need to keep looking.
They
need to
really
keep
do.
looking. Yeah.
What does it mean to have the verdict sealed? Well, what it means is that because she's been exonerated of those other charges, that those should not show up in her record.
Yeah.
And so the only thing that will show up in her record is
Yeah.
the OUI.
Yeah.
It's just to
Yeah.
protect her from being judged for having been tried twice
Mhm.
for things that she has been acquitted of.
Yeah. And no, they cannot charge her again. This will not be
No.
opened back up. You can't do it.
That would be double jeopardy.
Yeah.
But it's exactly the same outcome that the first jury wanted, but couldn't because they couldn't
get.
the
Yeah.
jury form wouldn't let him do it. Yeah.
The amount of money, the many millions of dollars that Massachusetts has spent trying to try her and that she has spent is astronomical.
Incredible how much money.
Now, in typical Karen style, she came right out and did a press conference directly after court that surely very much incensed people who still believe that she is guilty. So let's take a very quick look at that.
Right here.
I just want to say 2 things. Number 1 is I could not be standing here without these amazing supporters who have supported me and my team financially and, more importantly, emotionally for almost 4 years. And the second thing I want to say is no one has fought harder for justice for John O'Keefe than I have and my team. Thank you.
Oy.
Oh, Karen, maybe not today, huh?
Right, maybe not. But this is the
Yeah.
reason why I think some people really struggle with her so much, is because of that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. But it's true. She lost her career. She's lost her home. She now lives with her parents. Karen Reed also has MS. And so through the last 4 years of all of this stress, I'm sure it's been terribly hard on her health. The whole thing just really super sucks. This is why the legal system is supposed to work and sometimes doesn't, you know?
mhm.
But maybe it did. Maybe it did. It just took a really long time.
I mean, if they had the evidence that she really did this and they had the evidence that he was hit by a car, I would think that they would have had it in one of these 2 trials.
Me too.
But I mean, they really proved clearly that he was not hit by a car.
Yep.
So who killed John O'Keefe? Or
Right.
did anyone kill him? Honestly, my thinking is that this was an accidental death with some cops and drunk people, and people freaked out and didn't know what to do. And so they cooked up this plan that was a stupid plan and, ended up
Well, right, because they
falsifying
already all
evidence and all
hated
the stuff they
Karen.
did. Yes, and
Yeah.
they thought, oh, well, we'll just pin it on Karen. I'm going to bet you that nobody killed John O'Keefe. I bet that he died accidentally.
Right. Blunt force trauma to the head could be a fall on the stair. It could be a fall
Yeah.
and hit the coffee table. It could be that there was a
Or
fight and
like
there was some
that
jostling
big
around.
brick fireplace. Could be fall to the fireplace. It could be
Right.
something like
Yeah.
that. And then some real bad ideas
Some panicking.
that led to all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a hard one. And boy, this is one that has split the true crime community down the middle. It did the first time. It did this time. I thought it was very interesting. I don't really have a dog in the fight. I have an opinion, but we did not cover this case as closely because everybody else was. But I will say that it was very interesting the last few days on Twitter to watch both camps. Pictures of Karen going, enjoy your last few days of freedom forever, you bitch, and other people going, well, as soon as the jury comes back, she's going to be exonerated, and just the back and forth and back and forth. And then yesterday, especially when the jury started asking questions, and even the she's guilty camp were going, this is probably going to be an exoneration. And then they went home for the day. And so those very same people were like, psych, just kidding. Nope, she's definitely going to be found guilty. That's going to happen tomorrow. Like, it's just a mess. Just a mess. So
it is a huge mess. But I mean, if they don't prove their case, you shouldn't be convicted. Like, that's just
Right.
how our legal system works.
Indeed.
And they didn't prove their case.
No. If they had, they would have gotten a guilty verdict. They had 2 very long, well-funded tries to do it with a judge
Well,
that
they
really
did.
gave the state so much of what they wanted. Like, how could they not get her if she was guilty?
Right.
In my opinion, it is the doctor that testified towards the very, very end
Yes.
for the defense.
It was like
who
a
just-
national expert.
Yep, who was like, when they said, well, were you able to make some findings based on how fast the car would have been going? And she said, no, because he wasn't hit by a car. Why would I do that when he wasn't hit by a car?
Yeah.
That to me is pretty much what hit it. Yep.
Yeah. It was me too. She was so definitive. Like, he was not hit by a car. He absolutely was not hit by a car.
Yeah. Right. The
Yes,
ME
she-
did determine his cause of death is undetermined. I'm sorry, Jennifer, you're correct about that. It was her. It was that doctor who said he died from blunt force trauma. That was her opinion.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there you go. It's finally over. Now, already last fall, the O'Keefe family had already filed a civil suit against Karen. So that will, I'm sure, move forward. But without getting a guilty verdict, that's going to be a little tougher game. I mean,
Yeah.
they did it against OJ, so it's not impossible. There's a lot less to prove there, but I
Right,
don't
but
know. We'll
An
see.
exoneration it's not going to make it easy.
No, that's pretty tough to beat, even in a civil suit. So we'll see. I feel like this case is just never going to go away. Also, were I Karen, I'd be wanting to get the hell out of town. Because what's
I
going to
do too.
happen for the next year while she's on probation? Is she safe?
Right.
But
I
also, is
doubt it.
she going to keep her nose clean? I mean, two big questions there.
Mm-hmm.
Because what she's ordered to do means there will be no alcohol.
Right.
And if she steps out of line the tiniest of bits, she's going to be going down.
Yeah.
But I also
She'll be
worry
in
for her a
trouble.
little bit that if she doesn't step out of line the tiniest a bit, that she could be going down. It worries me a lot, and it makes me think if I were her, I'd try and get that probation transferred to a different place and just move out of town completely, at least until
For her
her
safety.
probationary period is over
I
for
would
her
imagine.
safety. My opinion. Yeah.
Yeah. But right, Jennifer, if you can't prove a collision, how can you prove wrongful
Yeah.
death? His cause of death has been undetermined
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
this whole time.
Yeah.
So how can you prove a murder when you can't even prove that the victim was murdered? Like,
Right.
it's just, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Yeah. Right. She drinks, and I don't know. All I know is what all the Twitter sleuths say about her, and that's that they see her in bars and she's drinking. So I guess it's unfair to just say she's a heavy alcoholic. That's just that's the rumor. But true with MS meds, she probably shouldn't be drinking at all. No kidding. Oh, good, Jennifer. She doesn't live in Canton. That's good. I still worry about her, but right. And that's something else that came up for me too. And I know, she has acted really cold, and so people feel like she hasn't really bothered to grieve John, but at the same time, she was in a relationship with John, and John died, and she was immediately charged and attacked. And has she grieved John at all? Has she even had that opportunity?
Has anyone had a
Has
chance to
anyone
grieve
had
John
that
Real?
opportunity? Yeah.
This has drug everyone through
Yeah.
so much that was involved with his death. It's just wild.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. This is something. It's really something. So, at any rate, that's what happened. We got to keep moving because we have a lot more to cover today, but I knew that would be
Yeah, we do.
a big one to talk about. So, we woke up to a press conference this morning coming out of Southeast Idaho that
We sure
nobody
did.
expected, and it
No.
was a big surprise. So, Kristi, tell us about it.
Yeah. Okay. So this was the 2021 murder of Ralph Bryan and the stabbing of his wife. Now, Karen Bryan, the thing that you have to understand about this is that to everyone publicly, this case has been solved. This young man right here, Pierre Lake, actually pled guilty to shooting Ralph Bryan and stabbing Karen Bryan, and is in prison serving 30 years.
Yeah.
And so to hear that there's news in this case was really strange. And
Yeah.
so this whole situation, this kid, the story goes that this young man, Pierre Lake, told a friend that he was going to go out and kill somebody tonight. And that he just went and picked a random house and broke in and shot the man and stabbed the woman. This house is not very far from Katie's house. It's right down the road.
Right.
And it's in a trailer court that to just pick, this kid's from Rigby, Idaho, which is about 15 miles away.
Yeah.
To just pick that house from random made zero sense. We've always thought that is not the truth.
We've always been confused because just a little further down the road are some absolutely beautiful homes and subdivisions full of gorgeous homes.
People with money.
Why would you be burglarizing in a trailer park? That
Yeah,
just didn't make
if
sense
this
to
was
me.
a burglary.
Right.
But why would you drive to another town and have to get off the highway and down an out of town road? It just never, it didn't seem like this could just be a random choosing at all.
And then
because
the
of where
obvious question too.
the home is.
Right, absolutely. But the obvious question too, why would you be going out to kill anybody tonight? Like, what the hell?
Right.
What is this about?
And this young man was well known in his community as a problematic teenager, selling drugs, getting in trouble. He had a lot of problems. And so people were kind of like, maybe he just lost it. But we've talked about this case many times that we just didn't think that we ever got the true story, because
Yeah.
how would you just randomly have picked that house?
Right.
Well, today, the Ron Ball from the Rexburg
Sheriff's office.
or Madison County Sheriff's Office did a press conference to say that these two young men, Anthony Wilson and Ryler Jensen, have been charged in relation to the murder of Ralph Bryan and the stabbing of Karen Bryan. And it was like, what? Pierre Lake is in prison for this. He's been in prison for it for a couple of years, right?
He pled guilty pretty quickly.
He pled guilty. So these two men have been indicted by a grand jury, and they have been arrested and charged with conspiracy to commit first-degree murder and first-degree murder. Here's the craziest part about it. Anthony Wilson, the guy that's in jail garb in these pictures, the guy on the left, he's already in jail, guys, because he is part of, we told you about this a few weeks ago.
You've just seen his face very
You have.
recently.
A conspiracy where 3 men were arrested because they were planning the murder of a district judge and the sheriff of Teton County. Well, Anthony Wilson is one of those people. He's already in jail, and they served the warrant on him in jail as he's awaiting trial on those charges.
On attempted murder and conspiracy
And
charges.
we're like, what in the hell is going on here? So there's a lot of stuff we don't know still. But some things that we know now that make this make a lot more sense is that Anthony Wilson actually put a hit out on a person during this time period. And apparently Jensen and Lake were both part of surveillance of a home in Teton County, or in Madison County, surveilling this house. And then Lake drove to the home on September 21st, entered the home. And then from there, we know that he shot and killed Ralph Bryan and stabbed Karen Bryan. Guess what, guys? He was at the wrong house.
Yeah.
This was a planned hit on someone. We don't know who. Their name is redacted from everything, so we don't know who. But what we do know is he went to the wrong house and killed the wrong guy.
Yep.
The poor Bryans, my God.
Yep.
This has been so sad. It's been clear from the beginning. Pierre Lake had always said, I don't know them. I didn't target them, which actually turns out to be true.
Yeah.
There's no connection between any of these 3 men and the Bryans.
But guess who never squealed?
Pierre Lake. They didn't get this information from Pierre Lake, not even now.
No.
They got this information in another way. But remember, and this is what's weird, and I bet they say that they have believed since 2023 that Pierre Lake didn't act alone. But he never gave up anything. Which just so weird. But see, that other investigation, and they say that the 2 crimes are not connected, the conspiracy to kill the judge and the sheriff, but they have a lot of cell phone data and they have a lot of communication data. And how much you want to bet that in investigating that other case,
it led to the other.
They found this, or in investigating this case, they found that. Because somehow Anthony Wilson is involved in trying to kill quite a lot of people in our area.
Which also has to lead you to ask, how many people has this dumbass killed or been involved in killing? Like, what the hell? Who is he?
Also, Ron Ball in the press conference said that the door is still open. This may not even be all of the suspects in this case.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy. So now these 2 young men are charged with first-degree murder. Weirdly, Pierre Lake has refused this entire time to.
They must have made some serious threats against Pierre Lake's family. That's all I can think.
Right? Is that what this is? Is that he was just scared to death and protecting people? Because it's so crazy, but it's very scary because particularly, I mean, all of them, but who the hell is this Anthony Wilson dude? And what is he doing? Plotting to murder people all over in our community.
Yeah.
And who was the original intended victim? Was
Right.
it another public official?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, man. It is wild.
It's really wild. It is very sad. We're friends with a cousin of the Bryans, and their family has just been fractured by this. It's been a
It's
horrible
so
experience.
sad.
Karen, not only did she lose her husband and experience this trauma, but she has lifetime injuries. And
Oh,
it wasn't
yeah,
even the
she
right
was-
damn house.
No, and it was a complete
But then who were they going to kill?
foible that they even went to that house.
Yeah.
But who was the other person?
Yeah.
And why is Anthony Wilson putting out hits on people in our community?
Right. I'm glad he's in jail. What the hell?
Yeah. So anyway, that was a bit of a brain teaser for us this morning.
Yeah.
I mean,
For
I'm
sure.
glad to hear that, yes, that story was not legit, because this whole time I've been like, how the hell did he pick that particular place at random?
Right. It made no sense.
This,
It never
it's not
has.
it's not. It
Yeah.
just isn't. You have to intentionally drive there to know, you have to know where you're going to go to
Right.
that house. It's not just a rando thing. And it's
No.
also not even in the town that Pierre Lake lived.
Right.
Like, yeah, makes more sense that he did intentionally go to that house.
Yeah.
Really, really sad.
Yikes.
But
yeah.
see, he put the address in wrong in his phone.
Mm-hmm.
So was it someone in that same mobile home park? Was
I'm
it just
guessing that is
home
kind of a
number?
rough place. I had a
Different?
daycare mom that lived there for a while, and it was kind of a scary place. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that's not the case.
See, that's what I
But
wondered, if he's just like that, got the house
just
number
got the house
wrong?
number wrong. Yeah.
I don't know, man. But
But I am blown
what
away that Lake
what
never
a
squealed and
horrendous,
still hasn't.
scary mistake, right?
Yeah.
You'd think maybe he would have gotten a little help, but maybe he also felt absolutely horrible because he killed the wrong people. They knew these people were completely innocent. Not that whoever else
Right.
they
Deserved
were
to
going
die
for
either, of
wasn't innocent,
course.
because
Yeah.
but can you imagine being in that situation? Like, wow.
Yeah.
Like that, it's hideous. 100%
Horrible.
hideous.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
it will be a life sentence for both of them, and could
yeah.
potentially be the death penalty for both of
hmm
them, Diane.
Indeed.
We're in good old Idaho,
Yeah.
where we have the firing squad.
And they're all over the nonsense these guys have been up to. Would it surprise you very much to see Wilson, pick up more charges here in the next little while on other
No.
related crimes?
No, or
I
the
mean, it
Jensen
wouldn't
kid
surprise me at all.
either.
Or the
Like,
Jensen kid. Yeah.
what else have these people been up to?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
Crazy.
let's move on to Kohberger, because I'm telling you, we have got a docket tonight and we have the watch
Oh
party,
my
so we
God.
can't be
Yeah, we
running
do.
too late. Kohberger. So a couple days ago, some information came out that a DoorDash driver had kind of made a confession to a police officer in Washington, pardon me, about an experience that she had had with Kohberger. She told a police officer she had been pulled over and was being accused of driving under the influence of prescription medication, I believe. And in this conversation with the officer, she just kind of starts spilling her guts that it's been a really tough time right now and she's really struggling. And also, she was delivering DoorDash the night those kids in Idaho were died, and she saw Brian.
How could she not have come
What?
forward at the time? Are you fucking kidding me?
And now they're saying that she's likely to be called as a witness. So I have a little video. It's quite hard to hear, but I think it's worth seeing. So let's take a peek at it.
My doctor and police, yes, they're all diagnosed. Okay. I have PTSD, I have depression, I have insomnia. My husband was murdered in front of me. He was shot 9 times. Our friend
Where did that happen?
in Moscow.
In Moscow?
Yep.
When was that?
Really. here before me.
Who was your husband?
Charles and Michael, you shot me with it.
And
And then now I have to testify. In murder case too, so yeah, because I'm a DoorDash driver, so yeah.
you have to testify in which murder case?
Murder case with the college girl.
Oh.
I'm a DoorDash driver, I suffer in that. Very still. Car accidents, rapes, abuse.
Okay. So you think it's all of those issues that make it look like you're under the influence of drugs?
And yes, she did say her husband had been shot 9 times. Her husband was killed.
In front of her, she said.
Mm-hmm.
I'm concerned about credibility here a lot.
For sure, but Steve Gonsalves had told a reporter about a DoorDash driver who was a female. Which is making we don't know. The witness list is sealed, so we don't know if she's on it, but that's making people think,
Is she on it?
is she on it? Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. But that's not all. Today, there was a hearing because the defense, Ann Taylor's saying, we're not ready. We can't go to trial yet. Ann Taylor wrote an enormous brief. An enormous brief.
God.
Brian Enton says it's true. Yeah. She argued in court today for 54 minutes about why in the world they should be given more time. A lot of it was that they just aren't prepared. Some of it, this was the judge's face looked like most of the time, that they couldn't possibly be ready because of the voluminous amount of evidence, guys, that they've had to go through, and they can't even get through all of it. They just can't. It wasn't organized well, and they can't get through it, and it's too much. And also, there's still so much for them to do, and they just can't. And his constitutional rights are going to be violated because this will be an ineffective use of counsel if they have to go to trial at this time. I mean, it went on
Ineffective
and on and
use of counsel.
on and on about how they just don't, they're not ready for mitigation. Do you know what mitigation calls for, Judge? That means that we have to learn about every single piece of Brian Kohberger's life into infinitum, and guess what? Nobody wants to talk to us. And so everyone that we're contacting is basically refusing to speak to us. So how can we do mitigation? And we need more time.
Oh my God. Well, and she brought up every single complaint that she has filed, demands for evidence she already had, and all of the stuff, all kinds of stuff that the judge has already turned her down for is her evidence for why they need more time. I'm like, dude, you lost all those fights. Why are you bringing that shit up?
Like, as if he owes her one, you know?
But the judge was like, I'm like, you might want to work on that, Judge, before the trial. But holy shit, he was very done.
A poker face, it was not. The state had their chance, and they were like, listen, we've all had the same amount of time. And we have done everything we can to give her the discovery that she needs and wants and how she wants it. I don't know what else to say at this point. And then he said it politely, but he basically said, this bitch can file briefs this long and talk for this long about this, but she can't just get her fucking work done.
Yeah.
That was, I understand. I was filling in a little for him there, but that's essentially what he said. He's like, she has time. I mean, she filed all of this, and what?
And ineffective use of counsel. I mean, she has literally peppered the court with this shit. You think she's not doing an effective job of defending Kohberger? She certainly is.
And also, he's the one that pointed out how long she spoke for, and also, you know, how long the brief was. But he also said, I'm confused why there is such a conversation here about mitigation. They have hired a mitigation specialist who should be doing this work. And then she backtracked all over the place about that and just about how nobody wants to talk to them and this is such a big deal. And the judge
guys-
basically looked like this the whole damn time.
He
And
did.
then finally
She
said,
said she had
well,
150 mitigation witnesses.
yeah.
150.
Yep.
Are you insane? I mean, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So basically, the judge said they were getting ready for their closed door part of the hearing, but he essentially said, I'm going to make a written ruling on this later, but everyone should be prepared to go to trial per normal, as planned. Yeah, and you are not getting this. It's definitely not going to happen.
No.
He is all done with your copious amount of nonsense.
The thing with her that drives me crazy is that she does this stuff with no evidence at all. What's her evidence that she needed more time? She doesn't give any. All she does is complain about things she's already complained about, and most of those battles that she's already lost in court, and that this would be ineffective use of counsel. How? And please, other than we want 150 mitigation witnesses and just insanity. It was wild, but the judge is super done.
Irene wondered if she'd show up in a wheelchair. Maybe
slings on both arms with casts on her fingers,
Right. Sue said I call BS on her witness numbers. Well, good point.
Right. I mean, who is she trying to call? His little league coaches and his first grade teacher? And people that are like, yeah, I'm not, no.
Right. Not doing it. Or will do it, but you won't like what I have to say. It's a mess. So we'll keep an eye on that. I strongly suspect that we're going to hear or see a ruling from the judge here in the next few days. That
the way he was like,
to the curb.
I would just recommend that you all be prepared to start trial on time. Was like, fine, I'll write it out. But I'm sure he's so tired of having to respond to these incredibly long briefs. Like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah. Now, everybody's least favorite murderous grandma has been back in court. What you got?
Oh boy, hasn't she though? Here's good old Donna.
Donna is not photogenic. And I'm not saying I am, but man, Donna, you take some terrible pictures.
So a couple things going on with Donna, one of which she has been moved to a different jail. If you recall, she said, these mean jail ladies are picking on me and I'm having to pay them all off, blah, blah, blah. So they put her...
And I'd like to be in the fancy white ladies jail, please.
Yes. So they put her in an administrative wing or whatever. And that wing, the people in it get a tablet, like free use of a tablet all the time. Well, the jail she was in was finding that people were just... Some of it's even is solitary. And people were getting put in there on purpose so that they would have access to a tablet all the time.
Yeah.
So they took all the tablets away. Are you aware that Donna speaks to her legal team 3 times a day, 7 days a week on her freaking tablet?
Yep.
Like, oh my God. Preparing for trial 3 times a day, 7 days a week?
Right.
So anyway, her defense team
must be paying them some really good cash money. That's all I can guess.
They must be. Her defense team complained. Her husband complained because she's prepping for trial that she has to have access. So they moved her to another jail with another kind of administrative type wing so she can have her tablet so that she can talk to those poor attorneys 3 times a day. Yeah, they must be paying these people an unbelievable amount of money. Can you imagine any attorney wanting to speak to their client 3 times a day?
Do you think most of this is just spiffing her up, and getting her through to tomorrow kind of stuff? I mean, she's been so incensed at what it's like
I'm afraid
to be in jail.
that it is probably, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Then the other thing, weirdly, there's a connection between the Brian Kohberger trial and this trial. And it's real weird, but it is that same jury expert person that helped Ann Taylor from True Scope, James Todd Murphy. He's the one that helped Ann Taylor get the trial of Brian Kohberger moved out of Latah County and into Ada. They're trying to get this trial, Donna Adelson's trial, moved to a different county as well. And he's the one coming in. He's done all of these things about how many news stories and blogs and stuff that have happened in their community and how many hits on all of those sites and all that stuff to try to prove why Donna Adelson's trial needs to be moved. Now, they're pretty unwilling to do it, so I don't know if that will happen, but it turns out to be the same guy that helped get Brian Kohberger's trial moved. So I don't know if it's going to get moved or not, but that's one thing they're working on right now.
Wild. All right. Well, now you've got your tablet back so that you can harass those people all you want, Donna.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
honey.
Can you imagine having to speak to that 3 times
Maybe
a
nobody
day?
here will bribe you into making you buy them snacks unless they should kick your ass.
She's on a very low population wing. They've kind of already figured out that they need to keep old Donna kind of by herself.
Well, I mean, she is quite elderly. I mean, you know,
She's
prison
75.
jail has got to be very, very frightening. I'll give her that for sure.
I'm sure it is. She's 75 years old.
But it was really scary to be murdered too.
I would imagine, yes.
Like Dan experienced. So,
yeah,
it's hard to be too, soft on her.
It really is. But yeah, that's what's going on with Adelson.
Well, okay. I want to bring up a case we haven't talked about in quite a while. This is Angel Overstreet.
Yeah.
I will tell you, practically nobody has reported on this case, and it breaks my heart because Angel deserved so much better.
She surely did.
We've talked about it
she
before.
She looks a lot like my granddaughter.
She does. If you have watched our show for very long, you may have heard us talk about this case, except for there hasn't been a lot. Angel was missing for a long time. And then suddenly there was an arrest of Shannon Overstreet, her father. And the jury's out on whether he's actually her biofather or he wasn't her biofather. He thought he was.
Right.
He had her. As it turned out, he was not her biofather. And we know this because he was posting a series of things on Facebook that we had some screenshots of. But in May of 2021, it was reported, CPS reported to the police that Angel was missing. Basically what happened is Shannon Overstreet received notice that he really wasn't the father and that they would be coming to get her. And when they came to get her, he was gone. And when the police came and talked to Shannon Overstreet, he said, "I've already given her to CPS. I don't know what you're talking about." So they went back to CPS and said, he says that she was turned over to you. And they're like, no, we would certainly remember a baby. Well, I mean, the jury's out on that, unfortunately, CPS. Maybe not you guys, but across the country, these things have happened. But nobody knew what happened to Angel. And it took a long time for Shannon to be arrested, a crazy long time. But his case is slowly marching through court, and some new evidence showed up here just a few days ago that I wanted to share. So one of the things that they know is that he owned a property. So this is in Kentucky, and we know that he owned a property a few hours away from where he actually lived that had a pond on it. And we know that they had searched the pond at one point and that they still believe that her remains are somewhere on that property, maybe. Well,
right.
Now we know a little bit more about that. We know that the day that they believe that she died, he bought a car. We know that he contacted Tractor Supply and asked them a question, and then contacted another kind of Tractor Supply kind of place called Rural King, and that he drove to Rural King. They have security footage and transaction receipts of Shannon Overstreet purchasing a 2.5-gallon gas can, a pair of work gloves, 4 bundles of firewood, and a 55-gallon trash barrel, and a soda. He was thirsty, guys. We know he went straight from Rural King to his property in Olive Hill, and that he was there for several hours before he went back to his home in Huntington. They think that's what happened to Angel Overstreet.
God almighty.
Angel was the most vulnerable tiny baby. He received Angel right after she was born. He was already in trouble with the law for beating up his mother, whom he lived with.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons the investigation took a long time is because he was already in jail and going to prison. And so I don't think they were in a super big hurry. They were, investigating thoroughly, but the public was like, what the hell? Where is this
Where is
baby?
this baby?
We know he's the last person to have had her, so where is this baby? Well, at any rate, that's a big, broader picture now about where Angel probably ended up. She was only 3 months old.
Oh, God.
Yeah, very, very sad case. But anytime something
Awful.
about Angel Overstreet comes up, I try to bring it because honestly, nobody reports on Angel's case, and I hate that. So,
Yeah.
right? How could this dude be handed that kid? Agreed. Agreed.
Right.
He was not safe to have her, but he was
No,
living
he
with his
was not.
mother, and I wonder if that was kind of part of the determination. But he beat the shit out of his mom too. He's
Yeah,
awful.
he did. Oh.
Awful, awful. Yeah. Speaking of awful, talk to us about Cory Richins.
Oh boy. Good old Cory. Tried to find an unflattering picture of her. It makes me mad because it's hard to find an unflattering picture of
No,
Cory
she's
Richens.
kind of cute. Why you gotta be cute, Cory?
Well, and she gets snazzed up. They snazz her up for court,
Yeah.
and I just think it's
Mhm.
wrong because
Yeah.
she's not on trial. Why does she get that?
Mm-hmm.
But let me tell you what's going on. She finally has a trial date, guys.
Finally.
This has been going on
Well,
forever.
a new trial date.
A new trial date, right? Because of all the battles about trying to move the trial.
Yeah.
Trial is not moving. It is staying in Summit County, Utah. And trial begins February 23rd, 2026. Jury selection is set for February 10th, 2026, and
Yeah.
will remain in that local county.
But honestly, thank you, God of Trials, that this is next year because, man, are we overloaded coming up with Kohberger and several other things that are all going to hit at the same time, including Adelson.
Right.
So it's fine. It's probably fine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because Adelson is set for late August,
Mm-hmm.
and Kohberger is set for early August. So,
Mm-hmm. It's going to
but
get
right,
wild.
right, Jamie, she's the only defendant I've seen in Utah get that privilege, right? Why is she getting to dress all business-like in these hearings and stuff?
Right.
Like, what the hell?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But anyway, this trial date, I think, will probably stick because she's fought her battle clear to the Utah Supreme Court regarding the moving of the trial, and they said nah. So
Yep.
it's happening.
You are where you are, Cory.
Well, and I think, Cory, the reason a lot of people know who you are and know about this case is your own goddamn fault. You were doing the morning shows about your little book right before you were arrested. So, yeah, do people know who you are? Yeah, because you were putting your dumb ass out there on the internet after you murdered your husband. So I feel not bad for her at all.
Good little mama. And a sweet little mommy helping her kids heal from the death of their dad and helping the whole world deal with grief. God, Cory.
Yeah,
How
gross.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Awful. I agree. The Summit County judge is fantastic. I'm with
Yeah.
you, Marta. I like him a
Yeah,
lot.
he's putting up with no shit.
None. Well, I can't believe this, but we got to go back to Massachusetts. To an adjacent
God.
police department, in fact.
Oh, yeah.
Remember Sandra Birch? Well,
yes.
This is the little girl who had been in the want to be a cop someday kind of training program as a kid, as a young teenager, and up through her teenage years. And then, as it was discovered, she had been being groomed and sexually assaulted by, I believe, 3 different members of the police department, including this dude right here, Matthew Farwell.
Yeah.
And then Sandra was murdered in her early 20s, and the case sat silent for quite a while until there was enough noise made that I think the prosecution finally really had no option but to do something with it. But it reeked of some of the other corruption that people feel like they're seeing out of Canton, though this was not in Canton. But Matthew Farwell has been charged with her murder. There is video of him entering her apartment the day that she died, and the belief was that Sandra was pregnant, and the belief was that perhaps he had murdered her because she was going to squeal, because he was married with children. Well, let me tell you something pretty wild. The DNA results have come back. Matthew Farwell is not the father of Sandra Birchbourne's baby.
Oh my God. Do they know who is?
No.
It wasn't any of those other men?
Not that they're releasing to the public at this time, though. That would be a hell of a curveball.
Right.
He's not the father. Does that affect the case? Sure. Does it end the case? No. There's a lot of evidence. There's quite a bit of video evidence. There's a lot of digital evidence. So not at all saying that this will end the trial against Matthew Farwell, but certainly
No, because
is
if he thought it was his child,
exactly.
or a chance that it could have been his child.
But right, is it one of the other officers? Because they were all still contacting this girl.
She was being trafficked, had been being trafficked for a long time with a bunch of these gross cops.
Has there ever been any charges for that? No. Her family has had to work double time to try to get any attention on her case. And it's another one that I feel like is not getting nearly enough attention. And so anytime something on Birchmore comes up, you're always going to hear it from us because Sandra Birchmore deserves justice. But I thought that this was a
100%.
very interesting development and sure does make you wonder. Right, they should have all been arrested for rape and locked up. Even if you go back and read the articles
trafficking.
about this, you will want to kick somebody in the face.
Yeah.
They never call it rape or sexual assault or pedophilia, any of the things they should have called it. The articles were all that she was involved in a sexual relationship with all of these men.
Child.
She was a little girl, motherfuckers. She wasn't in a sexual relationship with. She was being trafficked and sexually assaulted by multiple police officers who she was supposed to be able to trust.
Right.
Horrible case.
Disgusting.
So I don't know what this will mean for her case. I don't believe that it's ending it in any way, this trial, but wow. It's a terrible one. Terrible.
It is.
If you don't know about this case, I highly recommend you fall down the rabbit hole with it.
Yeah.
It deserves it. It is stunning. Absolutely stunning. The corruption, the absolute bullshit, and the torture that this little girl went through. Unbelievable. Yep.
Yeah. Disgusting. And that all of these cops got away with.
Yep. Except for him. Are any of them still cops? I kind of think none of them are. There was some.
Yeah, it was one of those, well, we're going to fire you.
We're just going to kind of send you this
deals,
way.
But
yeah.
They should have been charged.
Right, the Police Explorer program. Yeah. Right, good point, Marta. She said the damage this case has done to all of the Police Explorer programs that can be amazing. Yeah, it's terrible. Yep. Oh, Sue, I know. Yep. You can expect to see a big story on that on Thursday.
Oh, yeah, we know. Yep. We've been watching that. Holy hell.
Unbelievable. Yep. This is all just... Anyway, back to Farwell. So, Matthew Farwell, I still hope that your day in court is coming. I still think it is. This isn't going to exonerate you. But it's an interesting complication.
Not with that video. And if he thought that baby could be his, I mean, he had no way of knowing at that point. She was pregnant.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Her friend was going to expose this. People around her were like, wait a second. This is not right. Do you not understand? This is not right. But how could she know? Emotionally, I can't even imagine how damaged she was from this going on from, I believe, the time she was 14. Yeah. And now she was in her early 20s. I mean, this has been going on for a long time. She couldn't get away from these guys.
No.
Unbelievable. Okay, I think, yes. All right. Well, Kristi, you're going to take us out with Cowboy Cody.
One of you sent us this case, and thank you very much, because what the hell? I mean, I would say what the hell's going on in Kentucky, but, I don't live in a place that's much better than this. This is a man known by locals. This is in Murray, Kentucky, as Cowboy Cody. His real name is actually Jonathan Mason of Jonathan Mason of
Well, he doesn't know anyway.
Murray, Kentucky. Well, he clearly does not. He got into a little trouble a few days ago. There was a disturbance. There was a disturbance in a bar. And the disturbance was good old Cowboy Cody here, trying to come into a bar he was not allowed to come into because of the last time he got in trouble at that bar. And I'll tell you about that in a minute.
He'd been
So what does he do?
for good.
He had. He didn't like that very well, and he is clearly a guy that does whatever the hell he wants. And he had, he'd caught himself a raccoon. He'd been packing it around with him all day, as you do. He went into this bar and he chucked a live raccoon in the bar, full of people.
Mm-hmm.
And this poor raccoon, terrified, the bartender tries to catch the raccoon to get it the hell out of here, gets bit by the raccoon, ends up catching the raccoon, lets it go. Of course, it runs away, terrified, poor thing.
Right.
She has to get a rabies shot because she's now been bit by this damn raccoon that this jackass let go in her bar.
But what did she say? Something like, I'm not a city slicker. I can catch a raccoon.
Yeah, I'm a Kentucky girl. I know what to do. Yeah, that's what she said. She said, I've seen some crazy stuff in my time, but not like this. But this all started back in December of last year. And in December of last year, Cody was busted riding a mule drunk. Driving a mule drunk? Riding a mule drunk? I don't know. He showed up at this same bar. He'd already been drinking. He rode a mule into the bar for reasons no one knows. And then he had a bullwhip with him, as you do. And he started whipping the bullwhip.
He does.
At other patrons in the bar. Refused to leave. Was later arrested by responding officers. Apparently, somebody came and told the police that this guy had ridden this mule 15 miles into town, apparently to break him in. And he'd been whipping the mule, and she was very clearly being abused. And they said that the mule was 100 pounds underweight. And that this jackass is well known for abusing his horses as well, and getting drunk particularly, and abusing his animals. So animal control took the mule. Mason went to jail and then was released and posted bond. He wasn't supposed to get the mule back, and he was banned from the bar.
Mm-hmm.
But what does he do? He goes and finds where the mule is stabled and jumps on her, and he rides her on home. And they see him galloping away, and he tips his hat to bystanders as he's riding his mule home.
Mm-hmm.
And then now, last week showed up in that same bar and just threw a live raccoon in there just for hell.
Yeah.
Just for going for hell. Shits and giggles, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What I do know is this guy is a fucking menace.
Mm-hmm.
And he needs to not be around animals because he's abusive to animals. But,
yeah.
I mean, what?
Yeah, you need some time.
I know, I'm thinking about, Jamie says this is like a comedy sketch, mule raccoon bar. I'm thinking about, here's something I'm thinking about. I'm not saying I'm going to do it because I get roped into things because I say things, but I'm thinking about trying to make little, just very brief little AI video clips of some of these funny crimes. And this is a perfect example of one.
Right.
Ugh.
What?
Or like the guy that threw the alligator through the McDonald's drive-through window when he was trying to rob it,
Yeah.
I've been playing around a little bit. I use AI quite a bit in a lot of the things that I do. And I'm thinking about trying that. So you might see that coming up on some of our socials, or you might not. I don't know.
I would love to see it. We'll
it's
see how
something
it
I've
goes.
been thinking about. Because
this would be a great song, too.
It would
Except
be
for
a
that he
great
was
song.
abusing animals. I mean,
I know,
whole thing
and that
makes
part
me
makes me
laugh,
really
except
mad.
for that he was abusing animals. So fuck
I'd
this
like to
guy.
take that bullwhip and use it on him.
Right?
That poor mule.
I
And that
have
poor
some advice
terrified
for
raccoon.
you, Jonathan. You're not Cowboy Cody anymore.
you're
You
not.
are nobody. You're a drunk and an idiot, and you have to spend some time in jail, dry out, and then you don't get to have animals anymore. Any of them.
Right. Yeah. Agreed. Is that what's really going to happen? Probably not, unfortunately.
Right. That's what he needs. that's it. Except for that there was another case that I looked up that I found today that, again, it was almost funny, but then it wasn't because it ended in a heinous murder. But what in the world?
Oh,
The
yeah.
headline grabbed me. This happened in California at a nudist colony. And a guy snapped and murdered a couple over a hot dog. You can't make this shit up.
No, you cannot.
Over a hot dog in the nudist colony. And the victim's last name is Menard. Menard.
You
It's
can
really
see his
too
Menards the
bad.
whole time.
Right. Ugh.
And they got real mad about a cheap hot dog.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
murderer did.
The murderer did. The Menard guy bought him a hot dog. And it pissed him off because he felt like he was just saying that he was only worth a 99-cent hot dog. And he freaked out and murdered them and their dog. And
Maybe it was a comparison being made and he was not impressed. I don't know.
It was a nudist colony. Yeah.
He
Sometimes
buried
true
him
crime
under
is
his house. It was gross. It was
yeah,
awful.
it's terrible. Terrible. But my God, the headline. What in the?
Yeah.
I murdered a nudist colony over a hot dog. Well, you know I had to read it. What the
Right.
hell? But he's going away forever, so that's all said and done. But
As well.
there
He
you go.
should. He said he just snapped. He told
Yeah.
a friend he just snapped.
And said he
No,
didn't know he
that's-
had it in him.
Yeah, that's a lot more than just snapping, buddy.
Mm-hmm. And someone bought you a hot dog. The correct answer was thank you.
Yeah, that is correct.
All right, that could be a song too. I know. I almost did, and I'm like, there's a line, right? I mean, and we
Right.
push it. There's a line between true crime and funny, and we do push it. But this one, I went, but 2 people were murdered and maimed and chopped up and buried under a house along with their dog, and
No, it was really sad.
but I almost can't get over the murder in the nudist colony over a hot dog. That just,
Yeah, that's wow.
ooh. That's what we've got, and that was a lot.
Yes, it is.
That was a lot. But one more reminder. In 11 short minutes, it will be time for the watch party at 7:15 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. We are watching Memories of a Murderer, the Nilsson tapes on Netflix. So if you are a part of the watch party, we will be sending over the link. If you're not, you can still join. Go to truecrimesquad.com, click on the Buy Me a Coffee link, and that will take you to the link where you can sign up. It is $2 a month to come to the watch party.
Yep.
This is the kind of screen you'll see. It's a live stream because we won't be on screen. We're going to be cuddled up with our dogs and our popcorn watching the movie along with you, the documentary,
Mhm.
and we'll be in the chat room. So that's how it works, and we would love to have you. So that's how it works. And we're going to go because I think we've all got to, get a
over
minute
there.
to get our popcorn together and, get over
Yeah.
there. So
Absolutely.
we'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow. Kristi, you have an engagement
know.
tomorrow, so I'm going
I
to be all
do.
by myself. And we're going to be talking about the 800 babies found in a septic in Ireland.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What the fuck, man?
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad I'm missing it. Honestly.
I know. For real. What in the world?
Yeah.
So that's what we got. Thanks you guys so much for being here. Please like, share, follow. As always, the super chat is on, and you can always tip us over at Buy Me a Coffee as well. Not expected, but always appreciated. And we appreciate you guys being here. So we'll be back, you guys. Thanks for being here. This has been yet another production of the True Crime Squad.
Bye, everybody.
Season 6, we're back again. Kristi and Katie, your crime time friends. Stories, justice, laughs collide. True Crime Squad, come join the ride. Grab the clues, let's take a stand. For victims' voices, hand in hand. True Crime Squad, it's time to shine. Season 6, your turn, your time. True Crime Squad, where justice meets hilarity.